Okay, today we are going to go over how to use advanced searching in databases. Sometimes you will hear people refer to this as Boolean searching, which is kind of an algebra term for just combining a lot of different elements when you're searching. I just usually call it advanced searching. It's really the same thing. So you've got your search all databases box up here. A lot of people will just go in here and type in a term and search there, which is fine. I prefer advanced searching. So what I would do is click right here, advanced search. And when this opens up, so you see these different boxes here, and what we're going to do is use these different boxes and set different limits to run a search. So I'll be showing you a lot of different options with this. Let's say you're doing a paper on leadership. I'll just type in leadership here, we'll run a search, and we have 2,841,851. Now I want as many resources as I can get before I start narrowing it down. So I'm going to see if I can get that to be even more. So I'm going to click advanced search again here. It's got my leadership there. Now here's the first little trick I'm going to show you. I'm going to put an asterisk right there at leader. What that's going to do is basically give me any version of the word leader. So instead of just searching for leadership, I'm going to search leader, leadership, leaders, any other version of that. So we had 2 million something, 2,400,000. Let's run a search now. Okay, now we have 11 million. So doing that little asterisk there, getting every version of the word leader instead of just leadership, increased it quite a bit by 9 million. Okay, so it's not just small, the effect this has in your search. Sometimes people will say, I can't find anything when I'm running searches. If you use these tricks, you probably will find something. So now I'm looking for every version of leader. Let's go back to advanced search. Again, I'm really going to broaden the search out as far as I can go before I start bringing it back. And this is a pretty easy example, but sometimes you'll find things where you really can't find anything. So the first secret is that the asterisk will find every version of a word. Okay. Now, what if I'm looking for manager, leader or manager? I'm looking for whoever is in charge at a business. Okay. So I'm going to run my search leader, any version of the word leader or manager. We had 11 million something. Okay, now we've got 17 million, so that added about 6 million to it. Now, again, we're going to narrow this down, and don't worry if you get lots and lots of things at first. We're going to narrow it down. I want as many things as I can find before I narrow it down. Now, manager, there might also be management, managerial, managers. So where the spelling would change is right there. They all would have that in there. I'm going to do that. Run a search. Any version of manager, any version. Now we have 38 million. Whoa, it really increases it. Let's go back to advanced search. The next thing now, I'll use another box. So I want to keep the ideas that are similar all in one box. Okay, I want this or this. It's kind of, I'm talking about the same thing. Let me go down here and let's get more specific. How about different versions of leader or manager? How about transformational leadership? You probably know what I'm going to do here. It might be transformative, might be transformational. I'm going to go right there, and I'm going to put an asterisk in. So now we're going to mix some version of, and it doesn't even need to be a full word. I want some words spelled like that with an asterisk, mixed with this earlier search I had. Let's see what comes back. Okay, 267,000. So we had 38 million, so it really brought it down quite a bit. Let's keep going here. Now there's other forms of leadership. I'm not really sure what other forms I'm looking for, but I've heard of different kinds. How about or servant leadership? Now I don't really know of any other forms of that word servant, so I'm just going to leave that alone. So we'll say leader or some version of leader or manager or management mixed with some version of transformational or transformation or servant. See what happens here. Okay, now we have 317,000. So you can see it really changes. Let's keep going here. Every time I'm going to redo this, I'm going to click advanced search again to go back. Okay, now let's see here. What if we wanted to get really specific here? When we're talking about these different types of leadership, what if I wanted high performance? Now notice I'm putting that in quotation marks. It's because what I'm looking for, I'm looking for these two words exactly together. I'm not looking for high 10 words later performance or high at the beginning of the article, at the end of the article performance. I want this exact phrase, high performance. When I'm going to do that, I'm going to put quotation marks around it. Okay, that's a trick there. Let's mix this here. Notice how I'm using different boxes here for these different ideas. I'm not just typing it all into one box. Okay, now we're down to 1,275. You remember how I told you don't worry about how many searches, how many things come back. If they come back 38 million, that's fine. You're going to narrow it down pretty quickly. Okay, we're doing good here, and you're seeing we're getting some really good results here. The art of transformational leadership, a key to a high-performance company. Now that's perfect, right? Let's go back here, advanced search again. Now, what if it's high-performing? I could go back here. I can use these little tricks in conjunction with each other. High perform, any version of performing, performer, asterisk in the quotation marks. I can use those together. Okay, 1,757, that changed it a little bit. Let's go back here. Now, another thing we have here, maybe leader, manager, sometimes these days in business things that's called coaching. So you know what I'm going to do here, coach and an asterisk. So I can go back and change these things as I'm going. Run a search here. Okay. It's looking good. Now we're getting coaching in there. Notice that? Leadership team coaching. Just kind of looking through here. A lot of really good things here. Now, going back here, let me go back to advanced search. So now we're out of boxes, right? What you do if you run out of boxes and you need more, just click add field and you can get another field. Now, something that might happen if I put coaching in here and all this, I might be getting sports things. So I'm going to change this last box to not. How about things I don't want to see in here? Okay, I don't want to see sports or any version of the word athletic, which is fine to do that in research. But for this search, I'm looking for coaching as it relates to business or management. So which you might be doing a paper where you're looking at that with sports or athletics. I'm not. So I'm going to say not. I want to include that, but I don't want any references to sports or athletics. And I put that there, right? So we get any version of that word. So notice I'm saying not this or that. Now, if you use a not option, always make sure this is your last box. It seems to me it works best if we keep it the last box. Run a search here. Okay, 1,710, and now I know I'm not getting anything to do with sporting. Okay, now we go back to advanced search here. Let's change some things here. Well, let's see. Now let me run the search again, then I'll show you the changes we can make here. Okay, probably the most basic thing now that we have some good results is to say here, when are these coming from? I could say, how about maybe the past 5 years to make these more current. Then it goes to, now we're down to 673. Okay, and we have all kinds of things here, right? We have all, and if you wanted to get more specific, also, we could go in here. Sometimes in a search or in a course, they ask you just for peer-reviewed or scholarly sources. This is a book. That's great and it's wonderful. Not really a peer-reviewed item. When they're talking about peer-reviewed, they're talking about things from higher-level research journals. If that's what you wanted, if you wanted just that, you could click right here, peer-reviewed. And now we're just getting, you notice everything's coming from academic journals. Those are your peer-reviewed sources. Okay. If you wanted to turn that off and go back, you just click here. Okay. You could also, you could get, if you wanted to see all your filters, to see all the different things you could do, you can click all filters. And right over here, there's all kinds of filters you could change. You could get really specific with your date published. You could put in a custom range if you wanted that. You could go in here and look content provider. This is showing all the different databases it's searching. And you could limit it just to certain databases if you just know you want something from a certain database. There's all sorts of things you could go in here and change. Publication, you could go in here and see which publications they're coming from, and you could limit it just to that. All sorts of things under these all filters that you could change. Just make sure if you do something here, click apply there. I'm going to X this out. And any of these things that you would want to get, just click into it. There's your source right there. You could download it. You can go in here to access the access options. If you wanted to put it into what we used to call folders, which EBSCO now calls projects, you could click that right there. Okay, now if you're, let me just show you on the website, if you want to know how to find resources that remind you of how to do these things, if you go to Library Handouts, here's a nice little handout on advanced searching that you can download that gives you all these little tricks I just showed you on one page. You could print that out or download it somewhere. Also, if you go to the how-to videos, there's all kind of how-to videos on how to do this, and you may have found it this way in the first place, but if you go to advanced searching, there's a video on how to do the advanced searching, and there's another link to that handout. So that's the basics of how to do advanced searching. Hopefully this helped you. Let me know if you have any questions, as always.